For years, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes were one of Hollywood's most watched couples, and their daughter Suri grew up as one of the most photographed children in the world. But nearly a decade and a half after her parents' divorce, Suri has quietly made a decision that says more than any interview ever could, and it has nothing to do with a press conference or a tell-all. It's a name. In this video, we're breaking down exactly what happened, what's confirmed, what's still just rumor, and what it means for a father-daughter relationship that has puzzled fans for years. This isn't a story built on leaked documents or a dramatic tell-all interview. It's built on something quieter, a printed program at a high school graduation, a sweatshirt in a TikTok video, a name tucked into a college theater playbill. Small details, but ones that a lot of people have connected to a much bigger, much more public story about marriage that ended, a religion that reportedly drove a family apart, and a father who spent more than a decade on the outside looking in. Let's walk through it carefully, separating what's actually documented from what's still just speculation. Let's start with the basics, because the story of how we got here matters. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes met in 2005, and their romance became instant tabloid fodder thanks to the now infamous moment when Cruise jumped on Oprah Winfrey's couch to declare his feelings for her. The two married in November 2006 at a castle outside Rome, 7 months after their daughter Suri was born that April. From the start, Suri was treated like Hollywood royalty. Her debut portrait ran as a Vanity Fair cover story when she was just 6 months old, and Cruise later explained that the couple had settled on the name Suri before they even knew the baby's sex, drawn to its dual meaning, princess in Hebrew and, in another interpretation, tied to the word for a red rose in Persian. By the time she was a toddler, Suri was a fixture of the paparazzi world. Known for her elaborate wardrobe and her poise in front of cameras most adults would find overwhelming. It's worth pausing on just how intense that early childhood spotlight was, because it helps explain why Suri's adult choices carry so much weight now. In the years right after her birth, Suri became something close to a cultural phenomenon in her own right. Outlets tracked her outfits, her hairstyles, and famously her taste in kitten heels as a toddler, with her wardrobe at one point estimated to be worth millions of dollars. She was named one of the most influential celebrity babies by Forbes and picked up a Best Dressed Celebrity Baby title from People magazine in 2007. Cruise, for his part, was famously hands-on during Holmes' pregnancy, telling interviewers he'd purchased a Holmes sonogram machine so he could monitor the baby's development himself, a move that drew concern from medical professionals who noted the equipment is meant to be operated by trained technicians. Suri's birth in April 2006 also reportedly followed the Scientology-linked practice of a silent birth, in which the mother is encouraged to avoid speaking or making noise during labor, based on the belief that words spoken in moment of pain can cause lasting harm. These details, widely reported at the time by mainstream entertainment outlets, set the tone for a childhood that was, from day one, unusually public and unusually shaped by her father's faith. That fairy tale image didn't last. In June 2012, after roughly 5.5 years of marriage, Katie Holmes filed for divorce, a move that reportedly caught Cruise off guard. The split played out fast by Hollywood standards. The divorce was finalized within about 11 days of filing, aided in part by a prenuptial agreement Holmes' father, attorney Marty Holmes, had negotiated years earlier. Holmes was granted sole custody of Suri, while Cruise retained visitation rights. As part of the settlement, Cruise agreed to pay a reported $400,000 a year in child support, along with covering additional costs like medical care and education, an arrangement that was set to run until Suri turned 18. From that point forward, mother and daughter built a life largely outside the spotlight in New York City. Cruise, meanwhile, continued his career, and reports over following years painted a picture of a father who was becoming increasingly distant. In 2016, entertainment outlets reported that Cruise had reportedly gone more than 2.5 years without seeing or speaking to his daughter. The last confirmed sighting of Cruise and Suri together dates back to a 2012 or 2013 outing, meaning that for more than a decade, there's been no public confirmation of the two spending time together. During a 2013 deposition, Cruise was asked directly about the distance and offered a brief, guarded explanation, essentially saying that divorce changes things and makes family dynamics more complicated. He has not given a detailed public account of the estrangement since. There's also a financial dimension to the divorce worth understanding, because it shapes a lot of the speculation that followed. Reports at the time, including from outlets like Radar Online and the National Enquirer, claimed that alongside the roughly $4.8 million in total child support and an additional lump sum reportedly paid to Holmes herself, the settlement included language preventing Holmes from publicly dating anyone for 5 years and from saying anything that could embarrass Cruz, including discussing Scientology. It's important to flag that these details were never confirmed by either party or their attorneys. Divorce settlements are typically sealed, and this account comes from anonymous sources cited by tabloid outlets rather than court documents. Still, the timeline lines up in an interesting way. Holmes and actor Jamie Foxx were first linked romantically not long after a divorce, but the two kept their relationship almost entirely private for years, only becoming visibly public around 2017 and 2018, roughly 5 years after the divorce was finalized. Neither Holmes nor Foxx has ever confirmed the existence of a no-dating clause, and Foxx himself denied for years that the two were even a couple, but the timing has fueled the theory considerably. Holmes and Foxx dated on and off for roughly 6 years before eventually splitting, with Holmes largely declining to discuss her personal life publicly throughout. Naturally, speculation has filled that silence, and one theory comes up again and again: Cruz's decades-long, high-profile devotion to the Church of Scientology. Cruz's 2 children with his second wife, Nicole Kidman, Isabella and Connor, both adopted, have remained connected to the church and have occasionally been seen with their father over the years, though their relationship with Kidman herself has reportedly been more strained for what's believed to be the same reason. Suri, by contrast, has never been publicly associated with the church, and many observers have connected that directly to Katie Holmes' decision to seek sole custody. It's worth being clear here about what is confirmed and what isn't. Neither Holmes nor Cruz has ever explicitly stated on a record that Scientology was the reason for the divorce or for the estrangement that followed. What we do know is that Holmes secured sole custody, that Suri has grown up entirely outside the church, and that commentators, including former Scientologists who have spoken publicly about their own experiences in the organization, have pointed to the religion as the most likely explanation for the family rift. That remains an interpretation, not a confirmed fact, and we want to flag it as such. While her father's presence faded from her life, Suri's bond with her mother only grew stronger. Katie Holmes, who first became famous as Joey Potter on Dawson's Creek, transitioned into writing and directing, and she began involving her daughter creatively rather than keeping her at arm's length from the industry. Suri contributed vocals to 2 of her mother's films, a cover of Blue Moon for 2022's Alone Together, and additional vocal work for 2023's Rare Objects. Holmes has spoken warmly about including her daughter in these projects, telling Glamour magazine that she hoped Suri would always want to be part of her films, and describing the experience of having her daughter on set as something that felt safe, creative, and meaningful to her personally. Now to the moment that's actually driving headlines. On April 18, 2024, Suri turned 18. Legally, that meant Tom Cruise's court-mandated child support obligation, the reported $400,000 annual payment, came to an end, though he may still be expected to contribute toward things like health insurance or college costs depending on the terms of the original settlement. Reports at the time that Katie Holmes was anxious about her finances following the change were firmly denied by her attorney, Jonathan Wolfe, who said those claims were false and that Holmes' financial situation would not be affected. Then, on June 21, 2024, Suri graduated from Fiorello H., LaGuardia High School, the famous Fame School in New York City. Katie Holmes was there, dressed in a monochromatic beige outfit, watching her daughter walk across the stage in a white dress and cap and gown, with a stole marking her focus on vocal music. Tom Cruise was not there. Instead, he was photographed the same weekend at the VIP section of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert in London, reportedly spending time with stars like Hugh Grant, Ashton Kutcher, and Mila Kunis. The split-screen contrast, a father at a pop concert while his daughter graduated high school without him, was picked up widely online, with fans openly asking why he wasn't there and expressing sympathy for Suri. But the detail that really caught people's attention wasn't Cruise's absence. It was something printed in Suri's own graduation program. She wasn't listed as Suri Cruise. She was listed as Suri Noel. The same name later turned up in the program for her high school's spring musical production, and again when Pittsburgh-based media announced she'd be attending Carnegie Mellon University that fall. Noelle isn't a random choice. It's Katie Holmes' own middle name, since Holmes' full name is Kate Noelle Holmes. In other words, at the exact moment she became legally free to define herself however she wanted, Suri chose to attach herself more closely to her mother's identity and quietly set her father's surname aside. Photos from graduation weekend circulated widely, showing Suri in her white dress under her gown, smiling alongside friends, with Holmes beaming beside her in that tailor beige look. Commenters online quickly zeroed in on two things at once: the absence of Cruz and the presence of a name most people hadn't seen attached to Suri before. Some fans expressed sadness on Cruz's behalf, writing that his absence seemed to affect him even if he wasn't the one voicing it, while others focused squarely on Suri, framing the graduation as a milestone she navigated confidently on her own terms, surrounded by the parent who had actually shown up for the day-to-day work of raising her. It's important to be precise about what this name change actually is, because a lot of coverage has blurred the line. As of now, there's no public record confirming that Suri has filed for or completed a legal name change through the courts. That's different from a case like Shiloh Jolie, daughter of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, who petitioned a California court in 2024 to formally and legally drop Pitt from her name once she turned 18, a request that was approved. Suri's situation looks more like an informal, personal choice. She's using Noelle in school programs, on playbills, and reportedly in casual settings, but there's no confirmation that Cruz has been legally removed from her name. Insiders who spoke to outlets like Page Six characterized the decision less as a rejection of her father and more as an expression of closeness to her mother, saying Suri wanted her own identity separate from her famous parents, and that using a different name might also help her blend in more easily as a college freshman rather than standing out because of who her father is. That college chapter is well underway. Suri enrolled at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, a choice she first signaled publicly by wearing a Carnegie Mellon sweatshirt during her high school's Decision Day celebrations, which she shared in a video with friends. Katie Holmes reportedly helped her move into her dorm, carrying boxes and suitcases as her daughter settled into student life. Since then, Suri has continued to make trips back to New York to see her mother, including a visit to support Holmes at her Broadway debut in a production of Our Town. Photos from these visits show a mother and daughter who look genuinely close, matching casual layered fall fashion and easy rapport. And in one widely shared set of photos, Suri carrying her cat while walking around the city. People close to the pair have described their bond as unusually tight even by celebrity family standards, with one source telling US Weekly that the two function almost like a team. So where does that leave Tom Cruise? Publicly, he has never given a detailed, on-the-record explanation for why he and his only biological daughter have been apart for so long. What we do have are second-hand accounts. Some sources close to the situation have suggested that Cruise feels genuine guilt about missing so much of Suri's life and insists he hasn't shut her out completely, saying he still receives updates about her from time to time. Other reporting has been far less generous, with at least one unnamed insider telling entertainment outlets bluntly that the distance exists because Cruise chose not to close it, that nothing about custody or visitation rights prevented him from seeing his daughter, and that the estrangement, in this person's view, was entirely his own decision. More recently, at the May 2025 premiere of Mission: Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Cruise was asked what an ideal Father's Day would look like for him. His answer didn't mention Suri or fatherhood in any specific personal sense. He spoke generally about having fun and making movies, an answer some observers found notably evasive given the timing of the question, just weeks after his daughter had started her freshman year at college without him in the picture. There have also been reports, circulating as recently as late 2025 and into early 2026, suggesting Cruise may be trying to change course. According to insiders who spoke to Heat World UK, Cruise has reportedly reached a point in his life where he wants peace and has been quietly attempting to repair strained relationships across the board, not just with Suri. These sources describe him as being deliberately cautious about any attempt to reconnect, reportedly wanting to avoid pressuring his daughter or making her uncomfortable, and prepare to step back entirely if she isn't ready. It's worth treating this reporting with appropriate caution. It comes from anonymous sources rather than any public statement from Cruise himself, and there's been no public confirmation from Suri, Katie Holmes, or Cruise's representatives that any reconciliation is actually happening. Katie Holmes' own career has continued to evolve alongside her daughter's upbringing, and it's worth noting because it shows just how central Suri has become to her mother's creative life rather than something kept separate from it. Beyond Alone Together and Rare Objects, Holmes has kept working steadily as both an actress and a filmmaker, and by 2025 and into 2026, she was reportedly filming a new comedy trilogy called Happy Hours, which reunited her with her old Dawson's Creek co-star Joshua Jackson. Suri has been spotted visiting her mother's film sets to offer support, and Jackson has spoken warmly about working with Holmes again, describing the experience as feeling almost magical given their decades-long friendship. It's a small detail, but it underscores the broader picture. Holmes hasn't just raised Suri privately in New York.